Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. Another insane battle today, this time at the Cliff of Beasts. We've got the Empire of Blood taking to the field against the Dwarfs of Morgangrad. Heads up that Morgangrad does have a YouTube channel as well, and you can check it out in the description down below. Just a quick reminder as well that if you've been enjoying Total Breakdown, please don't hesitate to let me know by dropping a like and a comment. It makes a very big difference in helping me keep a track of what you guys want to see. We've been, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and to call things interesting would be a massive understatement. We actually have to start things paused because the action kicks off right away on that flank there. So let's take a look at the Empire first. We've got Boris Todbringer up in the air, and he's brought with him a Witch Hunter on the left flank over there, as well as an Amber Wizard who's on horseback and has the Amber Spear, hoping to be very maneuverable and pop shots with that Amber Spear. Up front as well, you can see we've got 3 units of swordsmen, as well as Sigmar's Sons over here, the Swordsman Regiment of Renown that is unbreakable. And you can see over here as well, we've got these handgunners that are some armor-piercing ranged support. Right behind them, we've got this line of greatswords who will be very threatening as they are armor-piercing as well as anti-infantry. And then we've got some of these Tattersouls to the right and some regular Flagellants to the left. So unbreakable on either flank. And then here as well, we've got the Great Cannon, hoping to get some damage right from the get-go with its armor-piercing shots. Now, I'd like to say on the other side of the field we have the Dwarfs, but really on basically every side of the field we have the Dwarfs deployed. We've got the Rune Lord in charge on foot. We've got these Dwarf warriors to the left, some to the right. We've got the Iron Drakes with their Trollhammer torpedoes in the middle here, and up in the air we've got the Gyrocopter with the Brimstone guns. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, again, behind the Empire's forces for the most part, we have the rest of the Dwarf army. We've got these regular miners. We've got some miners with blasting charges. We've got some Bugman's Rangers over here. We've got more Bugman's Rangers. We've got some of these Rangers with great weapons. We've got some more Bugman's Rangers. We've got some miners with blasting charges. We've got some Nordgrimling's Ironbreakers who also have blasting charges. Then we've got some of these Rangers with great weapons, Regiment of Renown, Ulthar's Raiders. Then we've got some more Bugman's Rangers, some more miners with blasting charges, and capping things off, we've got some more Bugman's Rangers, and we have some more miners with blasting charges, Ekron's Miners, the Regiment of Renown. Now, this flank gets very busy right away, so we're going to kick things off and see how things break down. As you can see, we get some aggression from these miners with blasting charges pushing in to get some damage in nice and early. We get some early shots as well from Bugman's Rangers. I think focusing in on the Amber Wizard over here as the Tattersouls turn around and try to engage Ekron's Miners over here, but the Ekron's Miners respond by tossing their blasting charges at the unarmored, unbreakable Tattersouls. Now, that's a good call over here. The Tattersouls will not give up on the fight, so they need to be completely killed off, and as they try to charge in, just again, whittle them down before they're able to get any work done at all. Meanwhile, at the same time, you can see we actually have Boris Todbringer here pushing in towards Bugman's Rangers, just trying to shut down that range support as quickly as possible, while off to the side over here, the Great Cannon's actually firing away, I think getting some damage into the Rune Lord over here. You can see he's taking a bit of a hurt there. I think that's actually fire at will being active over there. Meanwhile, you can see we actually have these Tattersouls having a terrible time as they try to close the gap towards these Ekron's Miners. You can see the Gyrocopter as well pushing in to open some shots in, and the Tattersouls basically already at about 50% health before they're even able to engage, and Bugman's Rangers back here able to shoot despite being kept busy by Boris Todbringer, able to fire in as well, a little bit of support, and you can see the Tattersouls are in a terrible position right now as the handgunners here fire away at the Gyrocopters, trying to scare them off, while back here as well you can see a lot going on. We've got these lines closing, we've got the Great Cannon turning around, opening shots off at the miners now, trying to get some damage in on this side of the field instead, while we have the Rangers and Bugman's Rangers turning around and firing away, picking off some of these great swords over here and over here as well, trying to do some damage to that very threatening unit. Again, like I mentioned, armor-piercing and anti-infantry. And over here, these Bugman's Rangers firing away at the handgunners over here. They're armor-piercing as well, and they fire from range to cause morale damage too, so might as well pick them off if and when possible. And you can see the Tattersouls here, now that they've engaged in melee, might turn things around, but they are at about 50% health, just below 50% health even. And over here, you can see we actually have the Amber Wizard turning around and using the Amber Spear for the first of many times in this battle. And take a look at that shot here, pushing through and lopping the heads off both dwarves here. Great shot, but killing just 2 ultimately, so not the best shot. Meanwhile, back here you can see as the lines continue to close, we've got the Great Cannons here being shot at by these Bugman's Rangers, trying to shut down that artillery piece as quickly as possible as these handgunners turn around to fire away at some of these miners with blasting charges, trying to close the gap towards the Tattersouls over here and provide some support. And you can see this situation over here, a lot of this battle is going to be in slow-mo at the beginning at least. You can see the great swords trying to close the gap and all of this focus fire coming in. We've got these Rangers with their great weapons causing armor-piercing damage from range as well, and bringing a fair bit of hurt to these great swords. We've got these Bugman's Rangers over here bringing some hurt as well. We've got Norgrimling's Ironbreakers as well as these miners with blasting charges, tossing their blasting charges as well on top of all of that. And take a look at that. These great swords have been whittled down to about 25% health before they're even able to come close to an engagement. Meanwhile, on the left flank over here, you can see we've got the Witch Hunter diving in alongside some of these flagellants and the swordsmen as well coming in to try and shut down these miners, but they are getting their blasting charges off, do a fair bit of damage early on, while Bugman's Rangers back here now providing support against, I believe, the flagellants over here. These Bugman's Rangers as well providing some support in those melee engagements. But take a look at the situation here now. These swordsmen, before they're able to close the gap to these miners with blasting charges, we get some blasting charges into them, and they're taking a fair bit of damage as well, down by about 25%, I should say. And here as well, you can see Sigmar's Sons trying to close the gap to Ulthar's Raiders. Ulthar's Raiders turn around, pull back into safety, as these Bugman's Rangers fire away into the sides of these Sigmar's Sons. Again, an unbreakable unit, so you want to whittle them down before they are able to engage. We get some blasting charges coming in as well from Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, slowing down that advance and causing a fair bit of damage here as well. Again, bringing their health down by about 25%. So beautiful micromanagement there. Great awareness, great response time, seeing these very threatening units trying to close the gaps and shutting them down before they're able to do absolutely anything. Here as well, you can see Ekron's Miners actually beginning to give up on the fight a little bit, but we've got these blasting charges and Bugman's Rangers as well providing some support against the Tattersouls. Again, they are unbreakable, so they will have to be completely killed. But over here as well, you can see these great swords getting the same treatment that these great swords got, fully surrounded, shot at from multiple directions, and a bad call over here actually, as these swordsmen continue to push through and chase after Bugman's Rangers over here. They should have been turned around and pushed into these Bugman's Rangers. They're right there, they're right next to them, just a couple of inches away, so a bit of a bad call over there, a bit of a miss, I think, just not noticing what's going on. But you can see the Witch Hunter as well as these flagellants shutting down the miners over here and trying to cause some damage to these miners with blasting charges as well, at least preventing them from spreading around, getting some more shots and charges into some of these great swords at this time. They are out of ammunition on that left flank, but the great cannon as well right now obstructed, not able to get any damage done, needs to turn around and fire away perhaps at these Bugman's Rangers or even at the Ulthar's Raiders over here to take care of some of that very threatening, armor-piercing damage, and also marked by Ulthar. Get rid of that from the field, and you can see we've got more blasting charges going off against Sigmar's Sons over here. Sigmar's Sons basically giving up immediately after getting into an engagement, but now finally we've got these great swords able to find this gap and push right through to try and cause some damage to these Bugman's Rangers and prevent their fire, get rid of them permanently, hopefully. While here you can see the Gyrocopter actually decides to dive in on the handgunners, get into melee, and shut down that range support for as long as possible. While here you can see as well these great swords being completely taken care of, as we got some more blasting charges coming in there. Now Norgrimling's Ironbreakers pushing into melee just to finish them off. They're very low on health, very low on morale, so Norgrimling's Ironbreakers should not have any trouble dispatching of those great swords. Meanwhile, over here you can see we actually have the swordsmen turning around and chasing after these Bugman's Rangers, who decided to turn back and pull away into safety. So the swordsmen here giving chase, trying to take care of that range unit for as long as possible, trying to keep them from firing into these engagements, while the great cannon now finally turns around and is now focusing once more at the central lump over here, I'd say. I think trying to fire at these Iron Rakes with their Trollhammer torpedoes, get rid of that armor-piercing anti-large capability before it's able to do too much work. And you can see as well these handgunners are able to pull back into safety, while Bugman's Rangers turn around and fire away at these handgunners again, trying to get rid of these guys. These Bugman's Rangers as well turn around and fire away, and the handgunners very low on health, very low on morale, about willing to give up. But in comes the Amber Wizard to the rescue, pops the Amber Spear once again, overcast, a bit of a miscast over there. But as that Amber Spear comes through, take a look at this magical cast. It cuts right through diagonally these Bugman's Rangers, dropping their health significantly, killing a bunch of them, covering the rest with blood, and dropping morale significantly as well. Beautifully done there. Great placement, great target selection. The only thing that may have made it a little bit better is if it came from this side right down the line, but what am I complaining about? That was gorgeous. Look at their health, look at their morale. It's down to about 50% each. Beautifully done there by the Amber Wizard, racking up about 26 kills already. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Rune Lord is pushing forth alongside his Dwarf Warriors over here. Boris Tarbringer pushing in against those Iron Drakes, and the Rune Lord actually brings in the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin on top of these swordsmen over here, trying to get rid of that unit, reduce their health, and slowing them down, not so important right now, but reducing their health as these miners with blasting charges as well come in with those blasting charges, trying to finish this engagement off. These great swords give up on the fight, and the swordsmen as well very close to giving up on the fight, just about to. They are wavering. Another volley comes through, and there they go, routing now. And here you can see the Witch Hunter getting a little adventurous over here, needing to pull back away from these Dwarf Warriors who try to close the gap. And over here again you can see we get some support here with Marked by Ulthar on these great swords, again reducing their armor and allowing a fair bit of damage to happen there. But unfortunately, The Ulthar's Raiders are just, I think, a little too far away to get all that damage in there right now, take advantage of that cast. Meanwhile, back here you can see the Amber Wizard engage these Bugman's Rangers and now needs to pull away into safety as he is fully surrounded and he is being cut down, so he needs to pull back into safety while Boris Todbringer actually decides to dive into the Rune Lord over here. We've got these Bugman's Rangers firing away at Boris Todbringer. The Amber Wizard might want to do something about that as these Bugman's Rangers now turn around and work away at the Amber Wizard as well, so he needs to pull back to the side here, stay safe, as over here you can see the Witch Hunter actually engages these Dwarf Warriors, tries to take care of these Dwarf Warriors as these Greatswords as well push in to try and shut something down. Might want to push in towards the Rune Lord there, maybe get a rear charge on some of these Dwarf Warriors over here. As back here as well, you can see Boris Todbringer actually getting involved against the Ulthar's Raiders over here who are chasing after the Greatswords. Boris, I think, wants to make sure that we're on a first-name basis, Boris and I. He wants to make sure that the Rangers, or the Ulthar's Raiders over here, aren't able to close the gap to the Greatswords and cause some damage there, so he wants to get involved as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Witch Hunter finally accusing the Rune Lord of some foul heresies, bringing his health down significantly. Watch that health bar drop as accusation just chips away at that health, and we've got these Greatswords here intercepting these Dwarf Warriors, and the Dwarf Warriors quite wisely pulling back into safety. And again, you can see the Rune Lord here taking a lot of damage, bringing his health right below that 50% mark. Beautifully done there. Great use of accusation. The Iron Drakes over here looking for an opportunity to get involved, while here these swordsmen still giving up on the fight. Now we've got all of these Nurgrimlings, Iron Breakers, miners with blasting charges, able to close the gap perhaps into the Great Swords over here, while at the same time we actually got another Amber Spear launched at the Gyrocopters over here, but as you can tell, it has missed. It takes off to the air and does next to nothing. So a bit of a waste of an Amber Spear there, but trying to get rid of the Gyrocopter with its Brimstone gun before it's able to do too much work. It's already been brought down. Only one of them left up in the air right now. They were shot at. We also had the, we had Boris Todbringer taking care of some of them as well, but just that one left to provide some harassment support. And you can see over here, the Rune Lord, having taken a fair bit of damage now, needs to be a bit more careful. Below 50% health, as I said, because of that accusation, so needs to be a lot more careful here, while Bugman's Rangers over here firing away at the Great Swords, trying to take care of this Great Sword unit before it's able to do any work. Again, armor piercing and anti-infantry, so even a handful of them are quite scary, I have to say. Meanwhile, back here you can see Boris Todbringer getting very intimate with Ulthar's Raiders over here, trying to take care of these guys, while these Great Swords do get hit by the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, slowing them down, preventing them from closing the gap to the Dwarf Warriors over here, and allowing these Bugman's Rangers to actually turn around alongside these Rangers with their great weapons to turn around and fire at these Great Swords. You can see they finish these Great Swords off. They drop their flags, completely give up on the fight, and now they turn around and start firing away at these Great Swords over here, hoping to do a fair bit of damage and finish these guys off. Beautifully done there. Great use of the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, slowing them down and also causing some damage. You can see we get another Amber Spear over here once more from the Amber Wizard, getting a nice shot. Beautiful angle once more, cutting right through these Rangers with great weapons, causing so much damage, getting their health and morale to drop instantaneously. Beautiful use of the Amber Spear there, now up to 42 kills. The Amber Wizard, beautiful job there, and you can see these Great Swords actually able to close the gap towards these Bugman's Rangers. They need to pull back as quickly as possible. They turn around and try to do that, and we also have these Dwarf Warriors trying to close the gap and pin these Great Swords in place. And you can see we've got these Rangers with their great weapons turning around, trying to give chase, I think, towards the Witch Hunter, towards the Amber Wizard, maybe scare them off, maybe take care of these great cannons back here as well. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Rune Lord and Boris Todbringer going toe-to-toe, marked by Ulthar, Boris Todbringer, and now you can see we've got Ulthar's Raiders here turning around, taking some shots, and I do believe that those shots are wasted as he is able to dodge and stay safe, and again, regenerate health as well, so he doesn't really care about a little bit of chip damage, Boris Todbringer, so I don't think that was the ideal situation. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Great Cannon being taken care of as the Rangers dive into melee, but perhaps more helpful are these Bugman's Rangers who are firing away, destroying a cannon right there. You can see the Great Cannon crew actually pulling back into safety, dropping their equipment, trying to pull away from that range of the Bugman's Rangers here, but continue to fire away these Rangers, trying to get some damage done, and then they turn around and fire at the Witch Hunter instead, trying to remove that threatening unit as Boris Todbringer over here dives into the Iron Drakes with their Trollhammer torpedoes. We do get these Ulthar's Raiders turning around, and now is the time to focus in on Boris Todbringer perhaps, but again, he's able to replenish those hit points. He's able to just turn around and take to the air, and over here you can see we've got the Swordsmen pushing through, trying to shut down Ulthar's Raiders. They are out of ammunition right now, so all they can do is fight in melee, so trying to take care of the Swordsmen. The Rune Lord as well as Nurgrimling's Ironbreakers tried to intercept, but they were able to get through, but ultimately the Swordsmen do give up on the fight. Meanwhile, over here you can see we've got these Great Swords trying to close the gap towards Bugman's Rangers over here, while at the same time we've got those Bugman's Rangers units still firing away, I think, at the Great Cannon. We've got the Ekron's Miners here getting some blasting charges off at the Great Cannon, trying to finish that range unit off, that artillery piece off as quickly as possible, while here as well you can see we've got these Great Swords now being focused down by all of these Bugman's Rangers, and at the same time you can see the symbol of the Amber Spear coming through once again. We've got the Amber Wizard over there perfectly lined up, just taking his time, picking his shots, picking his targets. In comes the Amber Spear, and let's take a look at this right here. Take a look at this right here. In comes the Amber Spear, cutting right through these Dwarf Warriors, causing so much damage, so much death and devastation, so much bloodshed over here. And then the explosion comes in as well, not doing anything unfortunately, but it's okay because these Dwarf Warriors have taken so much hurt. They're already shaken with that one Amber Spear. And take a look at this, 72 kills on the Amber Wizard. I am so very impressed by that Amber Wizard. And Boris Todbringer, meanwhile, over here finally shutting down these 2 units of Bugman's Rangers, getting a nice charge in there, trying to close these guys down as they were firing away at some pretty important units, including those great swords over there. Now the Witch Hunter as well, looking for another opportunity to get involved, perhaps another opportunity to accuse the Rune Lord, who in turn is popping the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin atop these great swords once more, trying to slow them down as they chase after these units and also obviously cause some damage there as well. While here you can see Boris pops Foe Seeker, I think mainly for vigor over there, keeping his damage output and all up. He gets that little speed boost as well, takes to the air now, I think wants to stay clear of the Iron Drakes with their Troll Hammer torpedoes over here. Meanwhile, you can see the great swords actually overwhelmed, I think, by the sheer quantity of dwarfs over here, just hacking away at their knees and shins. So the Dwarf Warriors and the Miners actually doing a fair bit of work getting those great swords to give up on the fight. They are routing, and you can see we also have the Witch Hunter over here using Slippery to keep his distance from some of these engagements and pop shots off wherever possible. Again, that's what he does. He moves around, gets some good shots and gets some accusations in like he has done right now. And again, you know, accusing this Rune Lord of heresy, firing at him at the same time, dropping his health right down to about maybe 10 or so percent, dropping his morale significantly as well. And you can see these dwarfs are not having a good time. They're not enjoying that, so they respond, they push in, try to scare that Witch Hunter back, try to push him away, as over here we get Norgrimling's Ironbreakers intercepting these great swords over here. The Rune Lord as well diving into a very cagey situation, but we have all of this range support firing in as well. We get marked by Ulthar here as well, reducing that armor to hopefully provide some assistance as Boris Todbringer comes in for another charge into these Iron Drakes with their Troll Hammer torpedoes, and in comes another use of the Amber Spear, this time right on the Rune Lord there, dropping his health to just below 200, and the explosion as well doing some work this time, getting a fair bit of damage into Norgrimling's Ironbreakers as well. But you can see the greatswords not having the best of times here as the Ulthar's Raiders with their armor-piercing melee capabilities dive into melee here, coming from a nice side angle over here, hoping to drop morale and health significantly, but Boris Todbringer is free to dive in. You can see the Rune Lord is giving up on the fight. This is not looking good for the dwarves. Back here, though, you can see these swordsmen are being surrounded by some Dwarf Warriors as well as some Miners. They might give up on the fight over here as the Iron Drakes actually giving up on the fight themselves, terrified away by Boris Todbringer here as well. We've got some more Bugman's Rangers out of ammunition, diving into melee, coming in from the side, getting these great swords to maybe give up on the fight. They are shaken. They're fully surrounded. A lot of armor-piercing damage coming in. We've got the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers as well. They're quite capable in melee, and you can see the great swords just on the brink of giving up on the fight. There we go. They're wavering now. They might just completely give up. They might just rout. There it is. And now Boris Todbringer here trying to finish the job, I think, on the Rune Lord over here as the Witch Hunter as well, looking for another opportunity to get involved, moves in, starts firing away, and in comes another Amber Spear from the Amber Wizard, and again just cutting through a bunch of dwarfs over here. Great shot, good location, good spot there, nice angle. Everything is just perfection with these Amber Spears. I can't stress it enough, causing some more damage in this clump over here, and again just trying to chip away at these dwarfs. And you can see Boris Todbringer again just at nearly full health. He is able to replenish, so all of that chip damage that was happening over the course of this battle has been completely wasted, and now you can see the dwarfs actually giving up on the fight across the board, routing, shattering. They do not wish to stand. They do not wish to fight. A Pyrrhic victory for the Empire. Now the dwarfs came in with a very bold strategy, but unfortunately for them, it just fell short. The initial surprise and excellent target selection whittled most of the great swords down to nothing, and as the armor-piercing melee units of the Empire, they were among the biggest threat. But the Amber Spear, collecting most, if not all, of the 96 kills for the Amber Wizard, more than made up for that. And despite a solid start, the Empire was very quick to respond, stayed persistent, shut down range support as quickly and as often as possible, and as a result, it came out on top. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to see such amazing battles from the community. I'd also like to thank all of my patrons for supporting the channel on a month-to-month basis, making a huge difference, keeping us alive and running smoothly. And a big thanks to you all for watching. I'll see you on the battlefield.